Yo, this is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation, baby.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dante's Boxing Nation. This is your host, Aki. Dante gave me the opportunity to post extra content on his platform, so I'm grateful for that. Feel free to subscribe to my channel on the description box below. And while you're at it, subscribe to Dante's Cooking and Travel Nation. And let's get straight to it. Shout out to Blue Blood TV. He had a great video where Errol Spence was part of the press, and he asked Jermall Charlo, what do you got to do in order to get the Canelos and the Golovkins of the world, because they stay ducking you even though you fighting who you're supposed to fight. And the WBC just franchise tagged you. So what do you got to do in order to get them fights? And obviously Jermall Charlo responded the correct way by saying his fans, he need all the boxing hardcore fans to pressure these guys to get in the ring with him. And that's what we've been doing. Or at least I know I've been doing that for sure. And the new media have, and the LDBC have been doing that. So we've been doing our job. Just calling it like it is. And over here, I'm fed up with the old excuses. Can I please get some new excuses by the Canelo Alvarez fans? Because the old excuses are getting old, man. Can y'all come up with new excuses? Like I said, I don't like to repeat my points. So can y'all please come up with some new excuses at least? Canelo and Golovkin fans keep coming up with the same old excuses that them excuses are so dusty. I have to brush the dust off before exposing them. But obviously, like I said, Golovkin, if you put a gun on his head and tell him to sign a contract and fight Jermall Charlo, he'd probably rather you shoot him than getting in the ring with Jermall Charlo. And see, we so legit over here that me and Dante, we've been doing this for a long time, calling it like it is. I remember even when Golovkin was still holding the titles and Jermall Charlo first became the mandatory for the WBC when he first moved up. And Dante had an interview with Sanchez where he exposed Golovkin team and was calling out Sanchez for not fighting Jermall Charlo, because Golovkin was ducking Jermall Charlo 2 years ago when they was claiming nobody wanted to fight Golovkin, even though Andre Ward wanted to fight him, Lara wanted to fight him, Jermall Charlo wanted to fight him. Ever since he was at 154, he said, even if I move up in weight and beat Golovkin, they're not going to give me my credit. He didn't even know Golovkin won't even dare to go in the ring with him. And Dante had an interview, and it's still on the channel, y'all can search it up, where he put his reputation on the line for Golovkin. And he made up all type of excuses saying Jermall Charlo ain't did nothing to earn a title shot with Golovkin, even though Golovkin was fighting unknown fighters that's less famous than Jermall Charlo, that never was champion, unlike Jermall Charlo, who was the best 154-pounder, and obviously he knocked out J-Rock Williams, and J-Rock Williams is a unified champion currently at 154. So we all know that's a lie. But like I said before, y'all old excuses are getting dusty. Can y'all come up with new ones? Canelo Alvarez, on the other hand, you know, he at least fights a top fighter from now and then. However, he does it so far in between fights. He does it like every year or two. He fights a Lara after Lara has to do the most. And then after robbing Lara in a fight, he doesn't give him a rematch. Then cherry picks Amir Khan, Chavez at a catchweight, Smith. Then fights another top-level fighter like a Golovkin after he avoided him the first time. Then after having controversial fight with him, he fights him right away because it's a Golovkin, obviously. But after that, he fight a Rocky Fielding, a fighter we never heard of. Then he fought Jacob. But let's be honest over here. Jacob was never a Jermall Charlo. He was never an Andrade. And he was never undefeated like them guys. He's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but he had a life and death fight with Soluski. And y'all see Andrade just dominated Soluski. And Canelo Alvarez fans has the guts to say, oh man, Andrade is a bum. He struggled with Soluski, even though he dominated Soluski, who had almost a draw with Jacob. But they want to give credit for Canelo for beating Jacob in a close fight where he won 8-4. It's a good win, don't get me wrong, but Andre dominated Soluski. But they don't want to give Andre no credit for beating Soluski, but they want to give all the credit in the world to Canelo, who had a good fight with Jacob. That don't make no sense. So for the fans that say, why does Canelo Alvarez have to fight Jermall Charlo? He not ducking him. It's for the same reason Errol Spence thinks Canelo needs to fight Jermall Charlo. Because he got stripped for not fighting him. Why would you get stripped of your title just not to fight an opponent that you feel like you could beat? If y'all feel like he's an easy win, well, why don't Canelo Alvarez keep that belt, that green belt, which is a Hispanic organization belt that's in Mexico? So you rather get stripped of your pride than fight a Jermall Charlo? You rather fight a fighter that we never heard of like Rocky Fielding and not fight your mandatory that's been there for 2 years, a fighter that's been chasing you ever since the 154-pound division, that was champion at that weight when you was champion, that's champion now at the division that you are a unified champion, and you don't want to fight him, and you rather get stripped of that title than go through a Jermall Charlo? So from what I'm seeing, he had every reason to fight a Jermall Charlo, but he rather not. The reason why is because he be agreeing with what I'm saying. He agrees with the points I'm making. See, Errol Spence agree with me. Canelo Alvarez's actions agrees with me. They co-sign what I'm saying. It doesn't co-sign what his fans are saying, because if it does, he would have been fought a Jermall Charlo. He's more known than most of the fighters he's been fighting. It's a big fight. And on top of that, this ain't soccer where it's a team versus another team. Boxing is a sport where it requires 2 balls, not 1 ball. And the reason why is because he has to step in the ring with Jermall Charlo, not his fans. His fans cannot fight for him. So it's Canelo Alvarez solo versus Jermall Charlo solo. We ain't fighting for Jermall Charlo, and y'all ain't finna fight for Canelo Alvarez. So at the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez got to back up what his fans been saying. And he feels like he cannot back what his fans are thinking of him. Y'all putting more pressure on Canelo Alvarez than y'all realize. So at the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez got stripped of his title just to duck a Jermall Charlo. He rather give up on his dream of becoming the first Mexican undisputed middleweight champion and going down as in the Hall of Fame as one of the best in the middleweight division if he was able to beat a Jermall Charlo and an Andrade. But he rather give up on them dreams than fight them guys. The reason why is because he feel like that he probably get beat. So he rather save himself that time and energy and possibly getting embarrassed by them guys. I mean, let's not forget, Jermall Charlo is 6 feet tall. Same with Andrade. The performances they had last night were outstanding. But just like back in the day where the Black Murder Row had to fight each other because the top level fighters won't fight them, we have that today. We have that in the middleweight division with Jermall Charlo and Andrade. We had that with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. And now, you know, them guys got to fight each other just like the Black Murder Row back in the day. And to the fans, they so happy to see that because it's like getting rid of 2 evils. And I guess the fighters with no cojones, Golovkin and Canelo, they're going to fight each other for a trilogy match because they don't got no cojones to get with the top level fighters, and that's why they was never considered and will never be considered to be pound for pound #1 like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, because unlike those guys, they will get in the ring with anybody and they willing to fight each other. However, when it comes to Canelo and Golovkin, they let in Jermall, Charlo, and Andre take their place without even having to go through them because they so scared of them. So like I always say, subscribe below to get smarter by the minute. If y'all trying to get dumber by the second, don't listen to these Canelo and Golovkin bias fans. Like I said, come up with new excuses, so expose those as well. The old excuses are getting too dusty for me, man. Like I said, them are getting too old. And if y'all like the boxing memes that y'all see on my videos, follow Latoon Boxing on Instagram. If y'all like the content I'm pointing out, subscribe to my channel at Aki TV and show love and support. And peace, and we outie.